for Friday?
Well, I spoke at length the last several days with Chris McFarland in Columbus and Rob Riley, our coach, and just on the way over here, we're speaking to Brad Larson, our assistant coach. A lot of conversation now about sort of zeroing in on those players that have to be high on our hit list for free agency. We have some holes to fill. I spoke to Chris McFarland about 8:30 this morning, just to make sure we're on the same page. I mean, when I say on the same page, certainly it's Columbus doing the signings, but one thing Columbus has asked myself and Rob Riley and Brad Larson to get involved in is evaluating players based on, or assessing players based on our knowledge of them. I mean, Brad Larson played against a lot of these guys that are still free agent players. I've seen a lot of them through, maybe have come through Springfield or have played in Springfield. So right now it's sort of honing in on your sort of your top 3 or 4 in each division. As I say it, you put an A list together, a B list together, a C list together, and you have, all 30 teams come out firing, and we have some holes to fill at center, holes in goal to fill, but there's some other developments going on right now. As you know, at the draft, Columbus was able to trade Nikita Filatov to Ottawa. That was good for a couple of reasons. One, Philly was not going to play back in Springfield next year, so they eliminated a contract, freed up some additional dollars for them to put into the budget to help us out. I will say this, we're not sure what's going to happen come July 1st on Friday, and it starts July 1st, but it goes certainly a lot longer than that. But I know Columbus has put a real good budget together. They have some really good players in mind that they want to go after for Springfield, both on skill, character, leadership, and filling that all-important area in the 6x4 and the goal that we need for sure.
It was something that Columbus did over the draft weekend, was trade for Jeff Carter from Philadelphia.
Right.
I got a lot of questions over the weekend about with our draft coverage, how Jeff Carter coming to Columbus affects the Springfield Falcons.
Well, they also, going the other way was Jacob Voracek, so really it was sort of a one-for-one on the player front. So really the only thing I can see what it will do is it gives Columbus a number 1 centerman. They've been looking for that number 1 centerman, probably play alongside Rick Nash, I would guess. So center ice is an area that organizationally Columbus has been thin, and they know that, and they're trying to address that. So certainly getting a marquee player like Jeff Carter helps them. Where it helps us is too early to be seen. I think we'll have a better idea is really when training camp breaks. Can a Derek McKenzie go into training camp again and make that team? He's got another year in his contract. He is, I believe, on an NHL 2-way contract. Derek probably is penciled in to play in Columbus because he played so well last year. But there's always somebody else, as you know, that can go into a training camp and maybe knock somebody out of a position. They've got their number 1 draft pick from 2 years ago, Johansson, I believe his name is, if I got that right,
yep.
Who they say is going to make the big club or should make the big club this year. So there's going to be some players battling for position at center ice in Columbus, but Columbus still has to take care of Springfield by signing at least 2, if not maybe even 3 free agents going forward here in the next few weeks.
Damon Markowitz along with Bruce Landon as we provide you another Falcons weekly webisode as we come to you from the Pride Store at 77 West Street in Springfield towards the north end of the city. Pride Store is just a great sponsor of the Springfield Falcons. Great stores. If you have a chance to check them out, it seems like they're all over the Pioneer Valley now. Fuel at best prices, friendly, helpful service. You have the Pride Market, the Pride Deli, you got a Subway in here, you got a Dunkin' Donuts. Check out their Triple Rewards card, their savings card. We had Bob Bolduc on to start this weekly webisode. He talked all about that, so be sure to check that out as well if you're interested. And like I said, you can't pretty much go a mile throughout the Pioneer Valley, it seems like, without seeing a Pride Store, a great sponsor of the Falcons. And Bruce, continuing on the Falcons agenda from our Facebook, a Jason Jaspers night was proposed over the weekend. And for those of you, Jason Jaspers, great player. I think started with us around 2001, but played parts of 5 straight seasons with the Falcons. Right up there in the top 10, top 5 almost, in almost all the offensive categories. I thought it was, you gotta be a pretty good hockey fan to know and propose that idea. It was pitched out there over the weekend, but just your thoughts on Jason Jaspers and a possible Jason Jaspers night moving forward.
Well, Jason Jaspers was certainly a really good center iceman and played here. A little guy that was a fan favorite because he was just the way he played the game, and he put up points, and he was gritty in his own way, and sort of barreled through guys to get to the net. But to extend it to the point where you have a night for Jason Jaspers, who I believe is still playing over in Europe, if I'm not mistaken, that would be stretching a little bit. I think there's, we'd have to give a lot of thought to other players. You're always afraid of when you do something like that. Did you miss somebody else that was probably more deserving? And I probably would guess Jason Jaspers, if you're going to do a special night for a Falcon player, would be somewhere up near the top of the list. But since he's still playing, maybe that's something you wait until he's retired. And I don't think it's enough to carry it on its own. You mentioned a very good point. You have to be a very good fan. You know, we turned fans over the last few years. It's been a while since Jason's been here, so some people wouldn't probably know who he is. But certainly, it's really good to see the fans remembering the players who played here and what they meant to this organization. And we're going to try and capture a lot of that going forward this year. As we've already talked about a couple times, you know, with having 2 or 3 Calder Cup nights coming up, and we'll do some other things, I hope, as well to recognize some of the great players. But I would say Jason Jaspers' night per se would be on the back burner.
Kind of going off of that a little bit, do you think we're finally getting to a point in our franchise, we're entering year 18, where now you're finally getting to the point, franchise history, where you're starting to see some guys, there's enough history there. You know, it's been Springfield hockey. Obviously, we do a lot of great things with the former Calder Cups and the Indians years, but we're almost starting to get to a point now after 18 years where Danny Briere is 34, 35 years old, Jason Jaspers, maybe start going into these Falcons alumni nights as well.
I think so. You're hitting a very good point. People, I don't think a lot of people realize we are going into our 18th year right now, and you can talk to, you know, 14, 15-year-old kids out there. I mean, you know, they grew up with the Falcons. You know, the ones that have been coming over the years with their parents, their mom and dad, they remember the Falcons. And I think we have to do a better job, or start not doing a better job, but start doing more than what we've been doing of recognizing some of those players on those early years of the Falcons. And you mentioned, you know, Danny Briere is 34, 35 years old now. So I think as time goes on here, certainly that's something we should consider, that there are some players that our fans remember that were with us when we started this franchise in 1994, that I think we have to try and find a way to get back into Springfield to say hello, not do special nights per se, but bringing them back and let the fans have a chance to meet, say hello to them, and make them feel part of what we've tried to do here with the Falcons since 1994.
And you're starting to see a lot of them get in the coaching ranks. Rob Murray obviously was out there with Providence for many years, but Jeff Daniels, another former Falcon, you have John Stevens. It seems like all the leadership back in those 96, 97, 98 seasons have gone on the coach. You can see why those teams are so good.
Well, it's amazing when I do look at old team pictures, and I see the players that did play here back in the 94, 95, 96, and so many of them have gone on to, you know, scouting, whether it's scouting or coaching or assistant coaching, or have become captains of different organizations. So, you know, it's all about winning, I guess, for the most part, but it's nice seeing some of these players have gone on to bigger and better things, or taken a new chapter in their hockey lives, doing some things to stay in the game and contribute. And I like seeing that. I look at my old player pictures back years ago when I played. I have a WHA championship picture in my office, as a matter of fact, and I looked at that the other day with one of our friends we're in, and I couldn't believe the number of players on that team that also were still in hockey in some way, shape, or form. So it's really nice to see the players that have played here go on to do other things in hockey as well.
Damon Markowitz along with Bruce Landon, bringing another Falcons Weekly webisode on the road this week as we come to you from the Pride Store at 77 West Street in the city of Springfield towards the North End Bridge. And just another great example of a great sponsor with the Springfield Falcons, a great supporter throughout the year. Don't forget about the Pride Stores and all the services they offer, the Triple Rewards card, the Savings card. Bob Bolduc at the start of this program went through some great examples of everything that Pride Stores has to offer. Be sure to check those out. And don't forget about our social media streams as well, official Facebook, official Twitter. Go to falconsahl.com at any time, and you'll see the updates on the official Facebook page, the official Twitter page. Stephen Hanjack tweeting probably as we move along right now, as he's behind the camera. Just a great job, hourly, daily, updating all of our social media streams.